While you were struggling to buy a bag of rice for 100,000 naira, the government is busy spending billions on terrorists who burn down our villages and society. Yes. While we are busy trying to make ends meet in order to buy a bag of rice that has gone as high as 70, 80, 90, 100,000, the same government that is telling us that minimum wage has to be 70,000, they can't pay more than 70,000, is busy spending billions on terrorists that they claim are repentant. So do you know that in 2025, the Borno state government spent a whopping 4.3 billion naira? I repeat, 4.3, not million, billion, on terrorists they claim are repentant. It is the same government who are claiming these terrorists are repentant. There's no process for us to be sure they are repentant. There's no independent process to verify if they are repentant or not. We are taking the word of the government. We are being shown videos. There's no process to verify if they are repentant. All we are seeing is individuals giving uniforms, sewing uniforms, all in line, in hall, in class, and the government claimed they are repentant. And 4.3 billion was spent on these individuals in 2025 calendar year. This is more than the same government spent on Borno University Teaching Hospital for the same year. So these terrorists gulped more money or were allocated more funds than the University Teaching Hospital in the state of Borno. So the question is this a peace deal or a reward for blood? What are we doing? Are we rewarding individuals who are killers or who have been involved in the wrecking of our society? Are we compensating them? Are we saying that it's better to be a terrorist than to be a law-abiding citizen? We are listening to Raging Hot My podcast, and today we're exposing the Borno Model, which is a program that treats killers like VIPs, like kings, while the real victims rot in IDP camps. Smash the like button, follow, subscribe, and share. So for more context, the disarmament, demobilization, and the reintegration strategy / program embarked by the Borno state government claims that over 100,000 terrorists are now repentant. There's no independent body, commission, NGO, or whatever to verify these individuals. We don't even know these individuals. We have little identity. We can't track them. But we are going by the words of the government, which claims that these terrorists have repented. These are the same terrorists that have killed, destroyed properties, and wreaked havoc in the society. How do we even verify these individuals were formerly terrorists? There's no way we can verify. How do we know if these are not hungry individuals who don't have jobs who come and claim they're terrorists? How do we also know that these individuals don't come back in order to claim they are repentant several times, reintegrate several times in order to just get these starter kits? That is what they call them. How? There's no way we verify or we can verify. So this program makes it clear that in Nigeria, it is literally more productive to be a terrorist than to be a doctor or a nurse. So in order for you to cash out, like Nigerians always say, you have to be linked with violence, because it's only when you link yourself with violence that the government takes you serious. So the government don't take you serious until your past, your present, or your future is linked with violence. That is what this program is telling us. The government are saying, on the part of the government, they are claiming instead of fighting, spending billions on ammunition, on guns, on soldiers, it's better you engage these terrorists, talk to them, make them surrender, and reintegrate them to the society. In theory, that's a perfect plan. That's perfect. That's extremely perfect. You know, there are some cases where you check theory, it makes sense, but in reality, it doesn't. In reality, it is common said, anyone who studies criminal justice system or criminology, or anyone in law enforcement knows you can't negotiate with terrorists. You can't. That's the number one written law. It's not even unwritten. No individual negotiates with terrorists. You can't. It's like negotiating with someone who wants to blackmail you. Because the more you negotiate with them, the more they are going to be more equipped and they are going to come back. The thirst for blood never stops. So do you know that in 2025 calendar year, 4.3 billion naira was spent by the government on livelihood support for these ex-fighters? 4.3 billion. The same government now ended up spending 2.7 billion on Borno Teaching Hospital, University Teaching Hospital, and also 2.6 billion naira on primary healthcare development. So just repentant soldiers alone got almost the same amount spent on healthcare. So that means the state of Borno is spending more money on militants more than it's spending on healthcare. This is where we are. Yes, I understand that whatever the state is going through as regards militancy or as regards terrorism, yes. And you only have to be alive in order to go to the hospital, yes. In theory, that is true. But what is the success rate of this program? In 2025, having spent 4.3 billion, did the bombing and killing of individuals reduce? It didn't. It rather increased. So what is the rationale for spending this money? In any case, doctors receive less funding than terrorists. So that means the fastest growing industry or sector in the state of Borno is terrorism. And the government is contributing. And they give it names, non-kinetic way of fighting terrorism. Spending billions on these same terrorists. Where healthcare, in America, healthcare is the highest department that gobs bulk of the budget. Healthcare. The average healthcare was like 6.8 billion, a trillion to $7 trillion last year. But the health department alone gobs up to 1.8 trillion. So the health department gobs 1.8 trillion out of 6.8 trillion of the US budget, to tell you how big the Department of Health is with less staff. That is where you look at finding cures for diseases, cancer, research centers, Medicare, Medicaid. That is it. Food stamps. But in Nigeria, the reverse is the case. In Borno State, terrorism is where the government spends most of the money. That means maybe there's more money spent on non-kinetic strategy or program than the kinetic one. The soldiers might even receive less money than the militants on repentant militants are receiving. So now, reports from 2025 and 2026 says that these terrorists act as double agents. They leak vital troop movements to ISWAP and Boko Haram. These same repentant soldiers or repentant individuals have been found to leak vital information to their former troops or to their current troops, because we don't know whether they are still there or not. And most of them also resurrender several times in order to get this starter kit, 100,000. Who doesn't want money? You have to resurrender every time. Every maybe 4 months you resurrender. Every year you resurrender, and you go through the training. How do we stop them from resurrendering? Or how do we even know, since the society is just absorbing them? There's no record, so we don't know these individuals. In the next 20 years, we don't know them. So how does the society, is there a record linked to them for life, at least so that we know them? So that means these individuals can join the Nigerian army. These individuals can do whatever they want in the society, and won't know their links or won't know their past. And tomorrow you hear us crying. You can hire them, even in vital sectors of the economy. They can later work for the DSS. These same individuals. The sky is their stepping stone. So now, another one, zero formal justice. 2.3 million people have been displaced. Over 40,000 people killed. Are we holding these terrorists responsible? Are we holding them accountable? Till today, since 2009, no individual has been tried for all the violence. That is failure of the state. The state has 4.3 billion to spend on terrorists repenting, but they don't have it to try them. None. They should come out and tell us who has been tried, who has been convicted. So that means there's no justice. So how do you want the families of these individuals who lost their lives to move on with their lives? How are they going to move on with their lives? They can't. Because the government is focused on compensating terrorists. When you have a system where since 2009, 2026, 2009, close to 20 years now, no formal trial. Not one. We should be ashamed of ourselves. Should be ashamed of ourselves. For over 20 years, no formal trial. But we are compensating terrorists, calling it no kinetic way of dealing with them. These guys get over 100,000 naira cash grants to start life, while IDP people rot in IDP camps. Have you seen how the camps look? Have you seen them in IDP camps? Even refugees don't deserve that, because I don't believe even refugees, their standard of living should be lower. Human beings have rights even if they don't belong in that society or they are not from that society. They're fundamental human rights. That is terrible. So you have the state believing that treating terrorists with kind glove or kid gloves, treating them with kid gloves, being nice to them, frolicking with them, pampering them is better, is the way forward. And you think this terrorism we are presently experiencing has an end soon, or is going to end soon, or the end is in sight? I bet not. No. Why will it end? When there's 4.3 billion spent on them, with less money spent on healthcare. So terrorists are more important than human beings. Do you know that the federal government of Nigeria earmarked 5.4 trillion naira for security, and yet the killings continue? Do you know? 5.4 trillion. That's what the government earmarked for security. Yes. No change. So when you spend 4.3 billion on repentant terrorists, what is left for development? And the main issue causing this terrorism, two main important issues: unemployment and education. The government is not telling us how much they're spending on education. The root cause of this thing is unemployment and education. If they have jobs, many of them will not do this. They've been used by politicians and dumped. They're not talking about that. They're talking about education. They're not talking about jobs. So they only give you a job if you're a terrorist. We have to do better. Smash the like button, subscribe, share, follow. Thanks. Drop your comments. Bye-bye.